All right, the section of your notes will be section 3.15, rational numbers. Rational numbers on a number line. On number line. Section 3.15, rational numbers on number lines. So we know what an integer is. And an integer is a positive or a negative number that is not a fraction. That's an integer. So for example, when we see like a -2, a 12, or a 411, those are all integers. Okay? Now today we'll take a look at rational numbers. Rational numbers are any number that can be written as a ratio. So we know that rational numbers are also fractions that repeat or terminate. So rational numbers are any numbers that can be written as a ratio, fractions, repeat, or terminate, such as 4 and 5/10, a -4 and 7/10, or 2 and 563 10,000ths, 10 hundredths, thousandths, 2 and 563 thousandths. So any of those numbers would be great examples of rational numbers. Now we also need to know what place value when we're looking at rational numbers. So just go ahead and jot down 1, 2 blank lines, a decimal, and 1, 2, and 3. And then just tilt your paper sideways, because this is going to be your tens place value. This will be your ones place value. This is your tenths. This is your hundredths. And this is your thousandths. Okay? So these are the place values that we'll actually be looking at today. So when you look at your place value, you have your decimal point, tens, ones, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. That's it. So when we plot something that looks like this, we'll just plot, let's say 4/7, 4/7. All right, what we do is we just start with our whole number 0 and 1, because we know this fraction is greater than 0 but less than 1, and it tells you at the denominator how many pieces to break up your intervals by. So we'll just go 1/7, 2/7, 3/7, 4/7, 5/7, 6/7, and then we'll just label 1/7, 2, 3/7, 4/7, 5/7, 6/7, and 7/7 is equivalent to 1. So when we plot 4/7, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's 4/7. And then we'll just plot it right above the top, 4/7, right there. So there are 3 simple steps to plot rational numbers. 3 simple steps. Okay? So step 1 is to create a number line, and look at whole number. Look at your whole number. All right? So step 1 is just create a number line and look at your whole number. Okay? Step 2 is to divide number line into intervals. So we just divide that number line into intervals, just like what we did up here, into 1/7 intervals. And lastly, step three is plot your rational number and label two numbers it falls between. That's it. So step one is just create a number line and look at your whole numbers. Step two is to divide number line into intervals. And step three, plot your rational number and label two numbers it falls between. That's it. So let's see what this looks like. So number one is going to be plot 0 and 6/10. Okay? So step one just says create your number line. So create a nice straight number line. And we know 0 and 6/10, we're looking at the whole number right here. So that whole number is 0 and 6/10. So we know that we're going to start at 0, and the next whole number will be 1. Now 6/10, that's pretty simple to get to. We'll just go up by 2/10 at a time. 0 and 2/10, 4/10, 6/10, 8/10, and 10/10, or 1 is equivalent to each other. So we have 0 and 2/10, 0 and 4/10, 0 and 6/10, 0 and 8/10, and 1. So step one is just create the number line, look at whole number. Step two, we just divided that into intervals of 2/10. And step three, plot your rational number. Our rational number is 6/10. So we just plot that rational number, and the two numbers it falls between are between 0 and 1. 0 and 1 are the two numbers that your rational number is between. That's it. Let's try another one. Number two is plot 2 and 3/10. All right, so step one just says create your number line. All right, so create that number line and look at your whole number. So your whole number is 2. So that's going to be our starting point. So we know that we're going to start at 2, and our next whole number will be 3. All right, so 3/10, to get to 3/10, we can split that up again into nice and even 2/10. 2 and 2/10, 2 and 4/10, 2 and 6/10, 2 and 8/10, and 3. Okay, so try to keep that as evenly spaced. All right, and so we just divided into intervals. Step three is plot rational number and label two numbers it falls between. So 2 and 3/10, 2 and 2/10, 2 and 4/10. So 2 and 3/10 is right there. 2 and 3/10 is right there. And we'll also label this one 0 and 6/10. Okay, and the two numbers that falls between is 2 and 3. 2 and 3 are the two numbers it falls between. That's it. Let's try another one. Number 3 is negative 7 and 2/3. 7 and 2/3. All right, so step one, just create that number line. All right, and take a look at that whole number. Well, we have a whole number of -7, so that's a good starting point. So, just like all number lines, we'll start at -7 because 0 is closer to this side of the number line, and -8 is right there. All right, so divide this into intervals, 2/3. Well, that denominator tells us we can just break it up into thirds. So here's 7 and 1/3, 7, -7, and 2/3, and -7 and 3/3 is equivalent to 8. So step 2 is done. Step 3, plot your rational number. Here's -7 and 2/3. That's it. And we know that the two numbers that is between are -7 and -8. That's it. So when you're looking at this, what two numbers is your rational number between integers -7 and -8? Let's try another one. Number 4 is 3 and 81 hundredths. All right, 3 and 81 hundredths. So let's start with your number line. So draw your number line. All right. And take a look at that first whole number. We know that first whole number is 3, so that's easy to start with. And we'll put a 4 right there because we know 3 and 81/100 is between 3 and 4. Now, once again, think about what would be easy to get to 81/100. Well, by 2/10. 3 and 2/10, 3 and 4/10, 3 and 6/10, 3 and 8/10, and 4. All right, and then just plot it. So we know 3 and 81/100 would be very close to 3 and 8/10, and just a shade after that, that's going to be 3 and 81/100. And then we'll also remember to label that one at 7 2/3. Okay, now step 3 is to plot your interval, plot your rational number we just did, and label that rational number is between integers 3 and 4. That's it. That's it. Your 3 and 81/100 is between 3 and 4. Go ahead and try numbers 5, 6, and 7 on your own. Go and try number 5, 6, and 7 on your own. Number 5 is plot -6 and 2/5. Number 6 is plot -12 and 9/10. And skip a couple lines for number 7. You're going to plot all on the same number line the following rational numbers. And A is -5/6. B is -1/6. C is -1/3. And D is -2/3. Go ahead and plot 5, 6, and 7 on your own.